Welcome back everyone. In this lesson we're going to continue our journey looking at data types in Python. Now lists are really useful, very versatile structures, allowing us to hold multiple items of different data types in one list. We can slice that list so we can take a group of items from within that list. We can also nest lists within lists, and you'll see why that's so useful. And we'll have a quick look at a couple of methods that we can apply to the list to make our life easy. So let's head on to the coding screen now. Okay, so we're back in the coding screen. We're going to start looking at lists now. Now, a list is basically built-in data type within Python for storing a collection of items in an order. Now, when I say in an order, I mean that it's indexed, so that you can actually find particular items based upon the index, similar to how we used indexes in the strings lesson earlier. Now, we mentioned in the slide that lists can contain mixed data types, and that means that we can hold strings, integers, we can hold other lists within it, can hold anything that you want, which is a data type within Python, within a list. So it makes it really flexible, very versatile, as a tool to hold data that you're receiving into your particular data pipeline that you're building. And it's always good to look at these things with that lens, that we're not just learning this for an academic purpose. We're learning this to be good data engineers and data analysts, using Python as our tool to look at our data, grab our data, organize it, and then analyze it, gaining insight from it. So let's go through some examples of each of the points that I mentioned in the slide, so you can get some experience in using it, and the more you practice using it, the better you'll become at applying it. So the way we define a list is by using these square brackets around the elements within the list, or the items in the list. Now I've defined a list here called claim handler, and it's a list of employee IDs for different claim handlers. In this case, employee ID 22, 33, and 44. So as I said, because they're indexed, we should be able to select any one of those items using an index value. So, for example, if we were to do print claim handler 0, we'd get number 22 out. Okay, so that's the first item. Remember, our index starts at 0 in Python. Similarly, 1 would bring us out employee ID 33. And if we wanted to do the first 2, remember what we said about the way indexes work? We go 1 more than the item that we're trying to collect. So 0, 1, 2. So if we put 2, that's 22 is 0, 33 is 1, and 44 is 2. Now that second number is the one above where we're going to collect. So we'll get the first 2 elements. Okay. And if we changed claim handler to be a list of string values, we could do the same. Okay. It's important to note that the items in a list are mutable. We can change them, unlike when we were using strings, where you've got an item within a string that you reference using an index. You can't replace that item within the string. Within a list, you can replace it. So you could say, now, if we were to print claim handler now, we would get Peter instead of Imran, because we actually changed the value within that list for position 0. You cannot do that with a string. It will not work because strings are immutable. Lists are mutable. So we can take slices of lists by using the notation we demonstrated earlier. And similar to strings, we can use the minus figure to actually start from the end, go backwards as well. But we can also nest lists. So we can put lists within lists. So what I've done here is I've actually put a list as an item within this list, and I've also put two different other data types in there. I've put an integer in there and I've put a boolean in there as well, just to demonstrate the fact that lists are so versatile in holding data. We can hold individual items, we can hold nested lists inside there, we can hold boolean, we can hold integer, we can hold floats in there. So how do we actually access, for example, Jerry, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, list item 3, but actually the second item within list item 3? And the way we do that is this. We say, from this nested handler list, we want item 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and within that we want item 1. So we go 0, 1. And when we run that, we're able to bring out Jerry. Now this is really powerful because it's allowing us now to actually create 2D arrays. Now when we talk about an array, we're talking about basically an organized group of values, 2 dimensions. So imagine we have the example that we see on the screen of we can now organize that 2-dimensional box of data into a nested list and be able to access each element using index notation. That's just something you need to be aware of. We're not going to cover it in depth right now, but we will do later in another lesson. What I am going to cover quickly is the use of list methods. So now that we've got our list, we can actually add to it. We can clear the list. We can make copies of the list. We can count the number of elements in there. We can remove items from the list. There's a number of different methods. So I'll just demonstrate how you use a method by just adding to a list. And we add to a list using the append method. So if we did, for example, claim handler.append, and we added the employee Azim to it, we can now print claim handler. Let's just print everything in there. And we see that Azim is now been added to it. Similarly, we can do remove instead. And if we did the remove, you see that Azim has now disappeared from the list. There are a bunch of different methods. So after this lesson, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short lesson on some of the other methods applicable to lists and also to strings as well. So we're just going to go through some of the common ones. But for now, thank you for watching and please practice.